Hi there, everyone. My name is Josh Heath. Welcome to another High Level Games Government Shutdown live stream. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I wanted to play a little bit of Captain's Log. I haven't played this in a little while, and I wanted to do a little bit of a live play of at least character creation. I don't think I'm going to get through much beyond character creation today. I will be surprised, actually, if I get through a full life path in character creation, but we will see. I am looking forward to walking through a little bit of this with you. I picked up the exploration guide not so long ago, and I wanted to use that in my game at some point. So part of my thought with this is I will eventually hopefully play this a couple more times, interspersed with some game design conversations, where I will walk through Captain's Log using the exploration guide kind of as a tool. So those are my ideas. As a reminder, please like, subscribe, and I will be dropping any sort of tip jar information there in the doobly-doo in the comments. So please, if you are willing and able to throw a couple of dollars my way, I certainly would appreciate it while I'm not getting paid in this world. And when I get back pay, hopefully my plan is to pay that forward into the world in some way, shape, or form. So again, thank you for any support that you offer, and if you don't, at least hopefully this is an interesting live stream doing something a little bit different. So right, I'm gonna try and jump right into this. So I already set up the page where I'm going to go on to the life path creation. Life path creation is one of the ways you can start creating a character in Captain's Log. So background, for if you don't know what Captain's Log is and you're like, why am I watching this? What is this thing that you're doing? Captain's Log is a solo RPG for Star Trek Adventures. So it's a game that's designed to be in the world of Star Trek Adventures, which is in the Star Trek universe, where you can play in any of the various eras that you might want to play a game. My plan is to play in the Picard era, where the exploration guide has given us a map of that region, and I'm going to be picking a sector. I'm going to be creating a sector that's somewhat close to the former neutral zone between the Romulan and the Federation. And I'm going to be using that location to explore the game a little bit. So I'm going to go through, probably, like I said, a couple of these episodes. I'm going to go through character creation, then I'm going to go through sector creation in the exploration guide, and then my goal is to explore a little bit of the sector, talk you through what I'm doing, kind of speak this, vlog this, as opposed to write it down. I might journal a little bit, but my plan is to play this live, as it were, with all of you, with anyone that is coming by to watch it. So, right, diving into life path creation. So I mentioned the other day my appreciation for random character creation, and so being able to do this completely randomly is something I'm excited to do. I've done this a couple of times, and I love the way this puts together. So I said I'm already going to pick an era, so I've done that. I've picked the specific era that I want to play my game in. That's going to be in the Picard-ish era, probably a little bit before the Picard Season 1 starting date. But I'm going to pick one of these species eras at random using the era options. So let's roll my d20. So I got a 14. So that's a next generation era species. So let's go to the next generation era species table. And I got a 5. I got a changeling. Now this is interesting. If I play as a changeling, my question is, do I have to be an antagonist to the Federation in this era? As you know, spoilers for Picard, if you haven't watched Picard, the changelings show up as one of the major antagonists. I said I was going to play this completely randomly, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to play a changeling. And just thinking out loud if I want that changeling to be secret, or maybe they are an Odo related type of changeling and they are willingly working with the Federation. The Federation knows who they are and what they're about. I don't know. That'll be interesting. I'm going to put it on my character sheet. Let's see. Where... Is this the right sheet? The log character sheet? I don't see anything for your species on the character sheet, on this character sheet. That's interesting. I'm going to just put changeling here in the name for now, and we will get into that. So, as a changeling, you start off with 1 control, +1 control, +1 fitness, +1 presence. I need to go back. Starting point, they get 7 for each attribute and 1 for each discipline, right? So, all your stuff starts at 7. Okay, 1 for each discipline starting. Okay. So those, and we'll talk about attributes and disciplines, but those are basically the things that you have to roll under to do your different things. So I got +3, 2 attributes as a changeling. The changelings get +1 control, +1 fitness, and +1 presence. Control, fitness, and presence. 8, 8, and 8. All right. Let's see. What's the next step in our character creation? So I've got my species, environment, setting, or conditions. Okay, so I'm going to go down through the environment. Okay, so step 2 is environment, right? You roll on this first table here. Let me get my dice roll up. 2. Okay, so I'm where... All right, so this is crazy. My environment where I grew up, it was the changeling homeworld. So I was born in the great the great collective. What is it called? The great pond. Anyway, the changeling soup. That is where my character grew up, right? So I have to create a value. In Star Trek Adventure, you create values that represent both the sort of Star Trek philosophy and the elements of your character's concept, right? I think I'm going to choose I think I'm going to create a value that is silence is golden, right? So disconnection from the Great Link is what my character is all about. Silence is golden. So that is the value that he adheres to. This captain that I'm creating adheres to. Okay, I've got to choose one of the 3 attributes the character's environment has improved. Increase one of those by 1. Choose one of the 3 attributes the character's environment improved. Okay, where does it tell you that? Choose one of the 3 attributes the character's environment improved. I don't know that I get one of those. I don't know that that makes sense, but let me just say that his control goes up by 1. All right. And then I get to choose one of command, security, or science. Let's go with science. I think he's a sciencey type of individual. It's probably what's driven him away from the Great Link, right? Okay. So that's the settings in which he was born. Let's see, what conditions? Well, I grew up on the homeland, so I don't really know how that would apply. But in choosing your character's environment, you start from either its settings or its conditions. One or the other. Okay. So I've randomly chosen that I was on the homeworld. That's the last step there for step 2. So last section for step 2. So get to step 3. Early outlook. What was my upbringing? Well, I'm going to roll randomly, but it can't be Starfleet, right? Unless, all right, I guess I can make lots of different arguments here, right? Maybe he was taken as a baby changeling, right, by Starfleet. We'll roll, and then we'll have to see what comes out of that. 4. Okay, business or trade. All right, so this makes sense too. Instead, I think that he spent some time in the Great Link, right? And then he was sent to act as a business sort of person, maybe interacting with a species similar to the Ferengi, right? So business or trade was the thing he was involved with. And I think he leaned into that, right? I think because he liked being away from the Great Link, he liked that silence, right? That kind of speaks to him leaning into that business or trade sort of upbringing. I increased my daring by 1 and presence by 2. Presence to a 10. Okay. So I think 11 is the max for Captain's Log. I have to keep that in mind so I don't keep increasing my presence. And the discipline, I get to choose one between command, engineering, or science. And again, I think science makes sense. I think he leaned into being an expert in the things that he was trading, right? The things that he was giving to other people, that he was selling to other people, he was interacting with other people about. Okay, that's interesting. So let's move on. So I'm not in the Klingon Empire, so I don't need to worry about a caste system. But now I got a little lost. I hit some wrong buttons there. Okay, don't have to worry about castes. Moving through that. Aspirations. Okay, so these are the things that my character is interested in doing, right? I'm going to randomly roll again. I got a 1 to explore. Okay, that makes sense. I said already that this changeling was interested in traveling away from the Great Link and exploring things. That's why he got away and is trying to, I think, peacefully live within Starfleet. I don't think he's made himself like, I don't think people know he's a changeling, but I think he is trying to live peacefully within Starfleet. If you pursue this aspiration, your drive to be worthy of your goal increases your presence by 2 and your fitness by 1. Okay. Now, I'm pretty sure, like I said, that your presence, that your attributes can't go over 11. So I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to put a note. Presence. When I check that rule in a little bit, just to see, maybe I do have a 12, which 12 would definitely be the max, because that's the max in the regular Star Trek Adventures rules. But so that I pick my attributes go up. Disciplines, your efforts to emulate your heroes and pursue your goals increases either command or science by 1. I think I'm gonna pick command in this case. So my desire to explore, I've spent a little bit of time trying to, build good relationships, and so command kind of plays a part in that sort of space, right? And I get to choose a focus here, and I think, this is an interesting one. I think this is the first focus I get, and I think my focus is going to be something like. I could go with stellar cartography, right? Or let's see. Elemental elemental sampling. Like he likes to get his hands, as it were, dirty, like digging through materials, checking them out in space or on a planet. Like he likes digging into those things and trying to get a sample. So that's a focus that I've created there. And I think that's pretty broad. Like there's a bunch of different ways to use that sort of analysis. Oh, elemental sample analysis. Keep it broad still. I can still use that in a bunch of different ways. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Education. This is interesting. Where did he get educated? Let's see. 20. Civilian training. That's even more fascinating. So maybe I may end up having to make this character not Starfleet. If he didn't get trained in Starfleet, but maybe he went sideways into Starfleet. We'll have to see. Let's go with look at the civilian training. options. Okay, so I've got these different civilian training options that I can go with. We'll see what I get. 3, freight and transport. Oh, again, so he's moving things, right? Like he's grown up. He spent a lot of time transporting things, trading things, selling things, and he got into this, specifically into moving things from one place or another. You gain a single value here. I think this is a great one. Like staying in motion keeps you safe. That's of good value for being a freight and transport changeling away from the Great Link, right? Okay, you gain 3 points in your attributes, which may be divided among 2 or 3 attributes freely. Either one gets +2 and the other gets +1, or all 3 get +1. Okay, let's see. This is attributes, right? So I'm going to increase my daring to 9. Increase my fitness to 10. And then I'm going to go reason 8. Some good attribute stats. Insight is low. Like I don't think he's very it's funny because I leaned into the elemental sample analysis, right? He is interested in these things, but I don't actually think he's great at it. He's not so great at noticing the things that are directly in front of him. I think that's fascinating. Okay, disciplines. You increase your con or engineering by 2 and 2 other disciplines by 1. Okay, so con or engineering. Spend a lot of time moving things, so let's do that. And then I get 2 others, and 2 other disciplines by 1 go up. Okay. Science to a 4. And I think I'm going to have my command go to a 3. That's interesting. Cool. Okay. I'm getting to step 5 now. This is career length. How long has he been doing the various things that he is doing? Maybe working as a transport person. 16. He is a veteran. He's been doing this for a long time. So maybe he's an old changeling, right? Maybe he's been out away from the Great Link longer than Odo even. Wouldn't that be fascinating? At this point he'd be ancient, right? But we don't get any indication that the changelings age or kind of unclear. I don't remember if they die if they're away from the Great Length for too long of a period of time, but maybe this particular changeling is good to go, right? Added value reflecting their years of experience and the beliefs they formed over their long career. Other species. Let's see. Meeting other species is worth everything. Like maybe he clearly thinks that staying in motion and he likes being in some silence, but meeting other people is something that he's interested in. He gets some benefit personally, like he's not a complete introvert, and meeting other species fills him with joy, right? Excitement. Okay, let's start getting into career events. Each career event increases 1 attribute by 1 and 1 discipline by 1 and gives your character 1 additional focus. Okay, when assigning a focus, you may select from one of the provided examples, randomly select one using the probability matrix on page 85, or choose one of your own making. Okay, cool. Let's figure out what this first event is. 12. Betrayed ideals for a superior. Oh, interesting. Maybe he actually the Great Link reached out, right? The changelings reached out, and the founders, right, were like, you need to do something. You need to go against something within the Federation, right? My character was not happy about that. But he did so. He betrayed his values, and really has been negatively impacted by that event. So increase presence by 1. Again, I don't think I can. I'm gonna have to check what I'm supposed to do with that. 1 again. Difficult decisions are part of being a leader. Your character increases their command by 1. Okay. Command to 4. That's awesome. Add a focus reflecting the event in its aftermath. Let's have a focus in deception. My character has learned to lie very well after having to lie for his superiors who he didn't appreciate, and now is learning to lie to them when he has to, right? So I get 2 events. So I need to roll for 1 more event. 20. First contact. Ooh, that's awesome. I love the first contact one. So first contact, I made first contact with a new culture. Let's say, since I really want to lean into some Romulan themes, that I met a proto or an offshoot Romulan species that did not have previously have a warp system until my character landed on their planet. Spent a good chunk of time with them, and then actually helped them uncover warp technology. I think, considering the way this character has gone, having him do something that would be completely against Starfleet values makes sense, even though he feels a connection to the Federation, right? Again, I would increase my presence by 1. Really gonna have to check that in a minute. Let's see, and then disciplines, increase any 1 discipline. I'm gonna go with engineering actually then. Oh no, you know what? I'm gonna go with science. Get my science up to a 5, max that out, and then add a focus. I'm going to go with warp field dynamics or warp core technology. Finishing touches. Oh, I burned through character creation a lot faster than I thought I was going to. Character receives 1 final value. Let's see. Sometimes rules don't matter. That's a good value. Sometimes the rules don't matter. I think it fits the general idea I was going with for this changeling captain who may or may not be connected with Starfleet. Now I got to figure that out. So your character may not have any attributes above 12. So I can go to 12. It's somewhat close to that. I've got an additional +2 in presence I got to figure out. And only 1 attribute with a score of 12. For any attribute which has a rating above and beyond those limits, reduce it. Increase another attribute by 1, bang the limits above. Okay, so cool. I can just put them somewhere else, which is kind of what I thought. Let me get my insight up. I know I wanted it to be low, but let me pop it up to a 9. I've got a good solid scores across the boat with all of those. Good. Increase 2 disciplines by 1 each. So I'm going to get my con up to a 4. And then I'm going to get my engineering up to a 2. I'm not a fighter. My security's low. My medicine's low. I'm not a doctor, right? I am a scientist. I'm taking command of vessels that I'm on, but I'm not a fighter, right? My security is very, very low. For any discipline which has a rating above and beyond this. Right, so I kind of automatically did this. Your character can't have any disciplines above 5 and only 1 discipline with a score of 5. Which I've done. Science is my only 5. And then I've got everything else set up there. Okay, so I've got this changeling. Let me tell you a little bit about this character, right? I've got this changeling who grew up on a who was part of the Great Link, right? Was separated from the Great Link and put on this mission to trade materials for the founders, right? And this was 300 years ago. So I said I'm going to be playing in the Picard era. I actually was separated from the Great Link in the early Pike years. I think the timeline works for that, so however long that is. And I was sent out to do these trade missions. During one of those trade missions, I actually separated myself intentionally from the founders, found my way into the Alpha Quadrant. I think maybe it took a while, like hopping ships to get there. And then maybe going through a wormhole or some craziness, I don't know. But he made his way to where the Federation is. And over the years, he stayed largely separated from them, right? Working as a trader, moving on various freight vessels and things like that. And eventually he the founders get back in contact with him, and they ask him to sabotage a Federation vessel, right? And he's not happy about having to do that, but he follows through. He does what the founders ask him to, and then afterwards he's broken contact with the founders, so he's no longer associated in any way, shape, or form with the changelings system, right? Not at all. I need to read this section on assignment, right? Your character's assignment will help define the challenges they face in Captain's Log. So I can pick commanding officer, or I can pick one of the other officers on the vessel. I'm going to say, I've kind of leaned into the idea that he's a captain of a vessel, but what if he was a different level of or a different position? That's interesting. That is an interesting idea because, again, he's a changeling, probably within Starfleet, now kind of hiding amongst them, but again, not negatively. He's not trying to be a source for the founders or anything. There isn't a probability matrix for assignment. I think it's supposed to be something you choose, but I'm going to make my own probability table, right? I'll count these: 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there are 14 different assignments that are options. So I'm going to roll a d20, and I'm just going to use 1 through 14 as my number, and if I roll above 14, I'll just reroll. So I got 12. Okay. That means it's going to be one of the later ones. Commanding officer, 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. I didn't count. How did I get 14 before? There are 10. There are 10 there. I'll just roll a d10. Let's see. 5. That'll still be interesting. Commanding officer, 1, 2, 3. Chief engineer. Okay. Interesting. Do I have enough engineering? I don't know. I don't think I have enough engineering. But maybe I am an engineering staff member, science officer staffed in engineering. That's the character that I am. So I'm engineering, hiding in engineering. We'll have to see if this works, right? If I can make this work as a Captain's Log story as I'm going through it. I am not 100% sure if it's going to work, but I'm interested to see. Let's go with rank 2. I can't be a captain. We're just going to take that off the board completely because I'm in the engineering staff, but I can be anything below that. So how many is that? 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 different options. I'm going to roll a d6. 5. So now I was initially counting this way, but I think I'm going to go with commander. I think I'm going to count from ensign up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Commander. That makes more sense, right? He is a science officer acting as a commander on this vessel, hiding who he is, trying to be a good changeling in Starfleet, right? I'm gonna go with he, him pronouns. Been using those for the character. They fit me, so. And I'm going to kind of make a joke. There we go. Yeah, so let me add in some of these elements. I was born on homeworld in the Great Link. My early outlook was to aspirations were to explore. Upbringing was business or trade. A civilian. Right, civilian training. I think that's what early outlook should go with. My career length was whatever the word for veteran. Veteran is the word. Right? Okay. And my 2 career events were betrayed ideals. And first contact. And first contact, I think that's where the he got into Starfleet from after this first contact event, right? He was invited into Starfleet because of his expertise in the material sciences of this area. You know, the former neutral zone. They met him. They think he looks like one of these Romulanoid peoples. So he's gonna. And they have brought him into Starfleet to support them. He actually has been given a Starfleet rank because he's been doing this for maybe 3 or 4 years. Has definitely earned some respect, got commissioned officially, but is actually a changeling working in Starfleet, trying to make all of this world work for him, right? Fascinating. Okay. So this is a different way of building your character, but I've done that. I've got my character created at this point. As I've mentioned, I am in this late Picard era. I'm going to create my starship next as the next thing to do. I don't need to select an era. I'm going to pick Picard, right? And then I'm going to roll for a type of ship. 17. Oh, it's a Ross class. Okay. Next gen era. Let's go to, there we go, Ross class. Ross class exploration cruiser and evolution of the large, long-range explorer type vessel building on the successes of its Galaxy class predecessor. The Ross is a product of a variety of important advancements in Starfleet's tactical and computational systems that came about in the 2370s. Fantastic. Let's write all this down. So this is a Ross class. What's the scale on it? The scale is a 6. Ooh, yeah, it's a big Galaxy class-esque ship. NCC 9042. I don't know if that's an existing ship. If it is, I apologize for stealing it. And let's see, let's give it a name. What would be a good Ross class? I'm gonna go with the Alberta. It's named after various provinces or states or locations like that around various planets. This one's named after Alberta in what used to be Canada. Okay. And then systems, comms, 10, 10, 10, 10. Engines were 11. 11, 10, 10, and 9. It's weapons. It's not a battle cruiser, right? Okay, departments. Command 2, Con 2. Command 2, 2, 2. And then, let's see, it was engineering 3, science 3, medicine 3. Okay. What does it have for... Oh, there we go. Chip traits and talents. Choosing starship talents. Is there a... There is not a random table for that? Or is there a... Advantages matrix, right? Starships can generate advantages. Matrix is 174 for a random starship talent. So let's roll 3d20. There. I'm going to roll. Ooh, that's a 58. Variable geometry warp field. No idea what that means. This is a talent. Variable geometry warp field. Okay. I have to go back and look at what that means. Variable geometry warp field, an extension of the variable pitch warp nacelles seen on the Intrepid class and the warp vector technology found on many Vulcan designed ships. A ship with a variable geometry warp field can adjust its subspace field in highly turbulent space-time and continue to provide propulsion force even then. Okay. I think maybe my expertise in warp core technology helps support that somehow. I think I get 2 of these. I get 1 of these. Let's see. Each ship can have a number of talents equal to its scale. Oh, I get 6 of them. Well, let's go for the second one. 24. Diplomatic suites. Okay, love that. Go roll the third one. 27. Electronic warfare systems. Ooh. Their systems. That's interesting. So I got 3 so far. I need 6. 4. 34. Improved damage control. The damage control is the part of the ship where they act if there is damage done to the ship, where they go and they fix that damage, right? So that makes a lot of sense. Based on this, I'm thinking this is an experimental vessel that's also in the area doing diplomatic missions in the wake of the Hobus disaster, right? Independent phaser supply, yeah, makes sense. Okay. 5. I need 1 more. 31. High resolution sensors. Okay, you know, there was a part of me that was wondering if I was going to get 21 and get a cloaking device on this, considering some of the elements, but high resolution sensors make sense too. High resolution sensors. Fascinating. Awesome. So those are all the talents. I get 6 talents, and then there is another thing that I'm supposed to get. Talents and traits. I'm wondering if there's a trait. Example traits and chips. Got it. You may choose to add, delete, or add other traits as mission types change. Let's say it's got the trait of Romulan systems. There's some sort of Romulan systems that they've integrated into this ship, specifically because of the area that it's working in, right? In this this neutral zone area, we've included some of those systems. Maybe there's like a Romulan decoding system to be able to decode any remaining old Romulan military systems that they might accidentally stumble across or something like that. There's some cool ideas in that space. Got a name already. I've got a registry. I don't need to create a starbase or station, so I think that's it. That's it. I'm done with character creation. I've got this character, Josh Heath, a changeling who is pretending to be a Romulanoid, working as one of the major engineering officers, not the direct commander of engineering, not the head of engineering, but working probably alongside them with equal sort of rank and supporting the ship. So that's a really cool background for this character that I've created. Like I said, I'm probably just going to do character creation today, and then I'm going to look into doing an actual playthrough using the exploration guide tomorrow or another day coming up soon. So hopefully that was interesting, watching me use the captain's log tools, talking through building a character, creating that concept that I was going with. If you have questions, ideas, if you want to throw in some different story ideas for me to dive into, maybe happy to hear those. Appreciate you coming by. Again, Josh Heath. This is the government shutdown live stream that I'm doing. Feel free, if you are able and willing, to do a like and subscribe and drop any sort of donation you want to in the tip jar. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.